Okay, let's unpack this one. We've got a fascinating stack of sources here covering a recent WNBA game. Saw one team desperately needing a win finally get one, and, well, another left asking some tough questions. This is our deep dive into the Chicago Sky versus Dallas Wings game from May 29th, 2025. We've pulled from, game recaps from Athlon Sports, ESPN.
Standard stuff, yeah.
Right. Dug into box scores, stats from SofaScore, CBS Sports, found key insights on player performance, team dynamics from Bleacher Report, and a really lively Reddit thread post-game discussion.
The Reddit threads. Always interesting.
Always. And even grabbed a play-by-play snippet from a YouTube game stream transcript. So quite a mix.
Good range of sources.
Our mission today, to kind of cut through all that information, pull out the most important nuggets, and really understand what happened in this specific game.
And what it means going forward.
Exactly. Yes. What it might mean for these teams, what were the defining moments, who stepped up big, and what lingering questions does this matchup leave you thinking about? Let's dive in. So let's get right to the bottom line first. The final score tells a story on its own. The Chicago Sky defeated the Dallas Wings 97-92 at Wintrust Arena.
And that score is hugely significant, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
For the Sky, I mean, as the sources really emphasize, this wasn't just a win, it was their first win of the 2025 season.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. It snaps a really tough 0-4 start. They were searching. You can almost feel the relief coming through in those game recaps.
Absolutely. Relief for the Sky.
Yeah.
But frustration for the Wings, right? This was their fourth loss in 5 games. So after this one, Chicago moves to 1-4, while Dallas drops to 1-5. Both teams are, down near the bottom of the standings early on.
Yeah.
But this game, it felt like a critical step for one team, and maybe a stumble for the other.
And what makes it even more compelling reading through these sources is it wasn't a straightforward game at all. It was defined by these really dramatic swings, a real game of runs.
Totally. Chicago came out hot, which, that was a change of pace for them early in the season.
Right.
They outscored Dallas pretty significantly in that first quarter, 29-19.
Right.
And you thought, okay, maybe this is the night for this guy.
But Dallas answered right back. They clawed their way into it. And by halftime, the Wings had actually taken the lead 49-43.
Yeah, it's a pretty big swing from that early Sky dominance. Right?
Huge swing. And they didn't stop there.
Nope.
That Dallas momentum carried right into the third quarter. They extended their lead, went into the fourth quarter up by 5 points, 73-68.
So it looked like the Wings had seized control, like they were poised to close it out.
Exactly. But here is where the game and the narrative from all these sources, it just completely flips. The Sky had an absolutely dominant, maybe season-defining fourth quarter. They outscored the Wings by the exact same margin as the first quarter, 29-19, to grab the win.
Wow.
And what's truly remarkable, and the sources point this out clearly, is that before this game, the Sky hadn't won a single quarter all season. Not one. So to turn it around like that, and not just win the fourth, but dominate it to get the victory, that's a massive psychological shift for this young team.
It really speaks to their resilience.
Yeah.
Like the Athlon recap noted that. And it wasn't just one player. It felt like a group effort. But a couple of standouts really powered that finish for the Sky.
Yeah, leading that charge was, well, undeniably Kamilla Cardoso. She had a huge performance, put up a career-high 23 points along with 8 rebounds.
Big numbers.
And commentators, particularly in that Reddit thread you mentioned, felt she really played with a new level of assertiveness, aggression.
What's fascinating about her night, and the sources really dug into this part, is why she was so effective.
Okay.
The analysis is that she specifically benefited from the Sky actively clearing the middle for her. They knew they were going up against a Dallas front court that, well, according to one commenter, has struggled defensively inside this season.
Oh, interesting. So a specific game plan adjustment.
Seems like it. That commenter even went so far as to say that playing against the Wings front court was almost like a cure for some of Cardoso's earlier struggles.
Wow, a cure. Yeah. That's strong. But it highlights the importance of coaching strategy, right? Finding those specific matchup advantages.
Exactly. And the question now is, can the Sky replicate that interior focus against other teams? That's a key question this game raises.
Totally. Finding the right path for their talented rookie is going to be crucial.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Courtney Vandersloot. This is where you see those headline hooks about history. But is her history with the Chicago Sky franchise that was made? She set not one, but 2 franchise records in this game.
And surpassing her wife Allie Quigley in both categories.
Right. How cool is that?
So cool. She is now the Sky's all-time leader in points, 3,728, and field goals made, 1,394.
And the sources noted when it happened, too. She tied the field goal record with a 3 in the second quarter and then broke the scoring record with a pull-up jumper in the third. Just an incredible personal milestone woven right into a crucial team win.
Yeah, just fantastic. And she provided that steady veteran hand they needed all night, didn't she?
Totally. Finished with 13 points, 9 assists, and 4 steals. Yeah. Just, classic salute, doing classic salute things.
Exactly.
Beyond those 2 big stories, Ariel Atkins also had a really critical impact. She put up 17 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists.
And crucially, made some huge plays down the stretch.
Yeah, including that pull-up jumper that stretched the Sky's lead late. That felt big.
Definitely. And Rebecca Allen was another vital piece, particularly her efficiency. She had 13 points, was highly effective from deep, hit 3 of 6 from 3.
And her plus-minus.
Right, her plus-minus plus 16 was the highest on the team, which, often tells you a lot about a player's impact while they're on the court, especially in a close game like this.
Good point. And the sources also gave mentions to Michaela Onyenwere and Dana Evans chipping in. Evans, in particular, was noted in that YouTube transcript commentary as being a steadying presence at point guard, effectively running the pick and roll, keeping things calm.
Right. So bringing all those individual performances together, the team play for Chicago just looked significantly better. They racked up 28 assists, which is, that's testament to excellent ball movement.
Yeah, it is.
Multiple sources, including that Reddit thread again, commented on how comfortable and cohesive the Sky looked, maybe for the first time all season.
One commenter's phrase really stood out to me. The Sky shared the sugar wonderfully today.
Shared the sugar. I love that.
Me too. It paints such a clear picture of a team playing together.
Totally.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like the ball wasn't sticking. And when they play like that, it just opens things up for everyone.
Okay, now let's switch gears. Because despite the loss, the Dallas Wings also had some absolutely massive individual performances that we definitely have to talk about.
Absolutely. The most explosive performance of the night, no question, came from Ariko Ogunbowale. She had a season-high 37 points. And what's striking is her efficiency in this game. 14 of 25 overall from the field, and a scorching 6 of 12 from three-point range.
That efficiency is so important to highlight. Because, as Bleacher Report noted, heading into this game, she was averaging a career low 13.8 points.
Wow, career low.
Yeah, on just 30% shooting. So this wasn't just a big scoring night. It was a huge bounce-back performance, showing flashes of the all-star we know she is.
And for most of the game, it was that all-star level performance that commentators were pointing to. She even gave the Wings that late lead, remember, with a three-pointer with just over 2 minutes left.
Seemed like the dagger, potentially.
Right. But the sources also note the sort of cruel irony of how the game ended for her. She went cold right after that crucial shot, missed her final 3 attempts.
Ouch. Her career high is 41, so 37 is right up there. But yeah, that finish was tough.
Really tough.
And right alongside her was Paige Buchers, who also had a really promising stat line. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists.
And she's been incredibly efficient lately, according to Bleacher Report, shooting like 66% over her last 2 games.
That's great efficiency.
And she's a known fantastic facilitator, right? Averaging 6.6 assists per game this season. That's solid.
What's really interesting, though, when you look at her performance in this game, is her plus-minus.
Okay.
It was a positive +7 in 36 minutes of play.
Right. In a 5-point loss, that makes you wonder, how did the team lose by 5 when she was on the court almost the entire game and they were 7 points better with her out there?
Exactly. And her performance, that plus specifically, it really fueled a lot of discussion in the sources about her role and areas for potential growth.
Yeah, the commentary around Buchers was pretty extensive. Sources noted she maybe needs to be more aggressive, to hunt shots more, particularly layups and threes.
Right, instead of settling for those mid-range jumpers, or middies, as one commenter put it.
Middies, yeah. There's also a perceived concern, maybe, that she might be experiencing fatigue.
Makes sense.
Potentially due to the heavy minutes she's playing right after a demanding college season, and especially with the injury to their backup guard, Ty Harris, putting more pressure on her.
Right, that context matters.
Some commentators felt she was maybe too passive in those critical final minutes, kind of letting Ariel take over completely, and that maybe the team doesn't consistently look to get her involved when they really need a basket. One particularly strong opinion from a commenter was that she needs a coach who will push her maybe even hard coach her, like Gino Auriemma did at UConn, rather than what they perceive as a more passive approach currently.
Interesting take. That dynamic between her and Arik and how the team is structured to leverage both of them, that feels like a major storyline for the Wings right now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of team structure and dynamics, the sources raised several broader concerns for Dallas beyond just individual performances.
Like what?
Well, chemistry is still clearly a work in progress. Arik Ogunbowale herself was quoted saying it's not where we want it to be.
Okay, direct quote.
Yeah. There's also a noticeable perceived need for more height on the roster and definitely a reliable backup point guard, especially while Ty Harris is sidelined.
Right, that injury hurts.
Yeah.
But perhaps the most pointed and widespread criticism we found across the sources, particularly in that post-game Reddit thread, was directed squarely at head coach Chris Clains.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the commentary was highly critical regarding his lineups, his substitutions, the defensive scheme, offensive play calls, even his overall courtside demeanor, which was described as, well, passive.
Passive, not what you always want to hear about a coach.
No. Commentators felt he was largely relying on the individual talent of players like Arik and Page to just create offense, rather than providing a clear, effective structure.
Kind of like, just go make a play.
Yeah, phrases like pure vibes and terrible hero ball, I know Chris had nothing drawn up, were used to describe the lack of offensive action in crucial late-game situations.
Pure vibes.
Ouch. Yeah. And stemming from that, there were concerns raised about the overall roster construction maybe not being fleshed out fully to support the talent they have.
Okay.
And a recurring theme in the commentary was just simply poor defensive play by the team down the stretch that cost them the game.
You really saw all those factors kind of converge in the final minutes, didn't you?
Totally. Arik hits that contested three, gives Dallas that brief 92-91 lead with 2.11 left. It felt like, okay, maybe they steal it here.
Right.
But then the Sky responded with just a composed 6-0 run to end the game. Ariel Atkins hits that key pull-up jumper to stretch Chicago's lead. And ultimately, that decisive moment came down to Paige Buecher's missing a contested three-pointer with about 14 seconds left that could have tied it. It really felt like execution down the stretch made the difference.
It really was like a tight wire act where the Sky made the plays and the Wings just couldn't quite get over the hump.
Yep.
And as the sources mentioned, these two teams won't have to wait long for a rematch. They're scheduled to play again very soon, this time in Dallas on Saturday.
A chance for the Wings to respond immediately, right? And for the Sky to prove this wasn't just a one-off.
Exactly. So what this deep dive really shows us is a Chicago Sky team that finally looks like they're finding some rhythm, powered by that huge night from Kamilla Cardoso, a historic performance from Courtney Vandersloot, and their best team ball movement we've seen yet, especially when the game was on the line.
And on the flip side, you have the Dallas Wings. They had these standout individual scoring nights from Arik Ogunbowale and Paige Buecher's, showing flashes of their huge potential, yet they couldn't convert it into a win.
Right.
And now they're facing these pointed questions about team chemistry, late game execution, and, well, significant commentary around their coaching strategy and roster fit.
It leaves you thinking, what does this one game truly reveal about the path forward for these two teams? They're both desperately looking to climb out of that early season basement.
Yeah.
For the Sky, can they build on this win? Can they channel the potential they showed? Or was it just, one good night against maybe a favorable matchup for them?
And for the Wings, how will they internalize or maybe address the significant commentary around their team structure and coaching approach? How do they better unlock and leverage the immense talent of players like Ogunbowale and Buecher's?
Right. It raises a fascinating kind of core question about the early WNBA season. How much weight should you, the listener, really put on incredible individual stat lines versus the overall team performance and cohesion when you're trying to figure out a team's true trajectory?
That's a great question. Something to consider as the season unfolds, for sure.